All right, everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today is Sunday. On Sundays, we learn Breslov history, Breslov stories, biographies about Breslov chassidim. We learn from a sefer called Siach Sarfei Kodesh, which is a collection of 8 volumes of just amazing information, stories, sayings, and everything about Breslov, about Rabbi Menachem and Ramnasan and everything like that. We've been doing videos on Sunday like this for the last 2-3 months, maybe even 4 months already. I don't even know. And we're in the middle of Chelik Beis in this sefer, Chelik Beis. And we've been learning for the last few weeks already about things that Ramnasan said, just life advice and good things like that. So let's just get into it. We just read through it, elaborate a little bit on each piece, and that's it. So if you haven't watched the videos about Ramnasan, we started Ramnasan about 3 weeks ago. So let's just learn. So Ramnasan says how hard a person has to work until he becomes like a governor, right? Like somebody wants to become like the president of the United States, or somebody wants to be a governor of a city, or anything like that. So it takes a very, very long time. He has to, wait 20, 30 years. He has to go into politics. He has to do all these types of things, whatever. So he says, but sometimes let's say there's like a very, very bad war, right? And the war is almost lost. So what happens? There'll be one guy on the battlefield who will stand up and just put all of his strength in it and break the enemy. Right, and then he'll become like the leader afterwards, because he was the main guy who did everything, or whatever. Not the leader, not the governor, whatever. They're going to put him inside a position of power. So the same type of thing that Ramnasan says about that is that this is the same thing in serving of Hashem too. That there's somebody that serves Hashem for many, many years until he comes to his level, right? And then there's somebody who also serves Hashem, but with even greater avodas, right? And through standing in these big tests, so let's say this guy also has big tests and whatever, certain things, right? He comes right away. What the other guy did in 4 years, he has this one test that he passes, and he'll get to the same guy's level in a week. So basically what he's saying is that everybody has like a different level, and there's different ways to get to it. And he said that this is the Indian that Rabbi Menachem was zeicha to, in such a short amount of years that he lived. He only lived until he was 38, right? And he still got to such a very, very high level. So also it depends on how much work you put into it. Okay, they said to Ramnasan how the Rav Kodesh, Rav Meir of Pramishlan, who was a student of the Baal Shem Tov, said one time in a comedic way, in B'derech Tzachus, in a funny way, how he interpreted the words b'toif u'moichel, with a drum and with clapping, with singing. These words are found in the last capital of Tehillim. So how did he explain them? He explained that at Soif Kol Soif, at the end, Yimchol HaKadosh Baruch Hu La'avonos Yisrael, that Hashem will forgive the sins of the Jews. V'zehu b'toif u'machol. Right? He said, it means like with drums and clapping and whatever. Machol, really, he's saying that it's mechila, right? So, and then Ramnasan finished off on this. He says, "Ulam adha soif sheyimcho, ko'emer kama tzrichim lisbol ad sheyiskayim hasoif hatoyv hazeh." He says, but we still have to wait a long time to be forgiven. So you have to suffer in this world a little bit to be forgiven. So that's what he's saying. When they told Ramnasan that the tzaddik of Berditchev, Rav Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev, said that on the night of Kol Nidre, right, that a great fear falls upon the whole entire world. Achafilu hadogim shebemayim, even the fish in the sea are shaking with fear. And Ramnasan finished off. He says, Im kain, how much more so that we need to try to, shake in fear when we don't even know what we're shaking about. Like, you don't even shake in fear. When was the last time you were shaking in fear on Yom Kippur night? And Rav Nasan is saying that we really have to feel it. We really have to try to feel it. One time, one of the chassidim asked Ramnasan, right, if he should be a teacher of small children. He doesn't have any work, so he wanted to get a job, and he found a job as a teacher of small children. And Ramnasan says that at the same time that that you're going to be this teacher to teach kids, instead of renting yourself out like that, rent out yourself to daven to Hashem, right, and to daven beferish also on parnasa, and after a while you'll see that you'll have much more hatzlacha than if you were a teacher. Which means maybe he would find a different job also, because it's clear that Ramnasan did tell people to go find work when they didn't have work, and some people he said just to sit and learn. So it could be this is one of those guys. One time when the chassidim went out to be Kiddush Levana, to do Kiddush Levana on Motzei Shabbos, right? The Levana wasn't so clear in the sky. Afal Pikein, Ramnasan made the bracha, right? Kidas Rabbi Menachem, that he brings in sefer Chaim, right? He brings a halacha that from the Shulchan Aruch that even if it's not so clear, you can still make the bracha, right? You have to look over there in Chaim. He didn't just make up the thing himself. But Rabbi Aaron, the Rav of Breslov, did not want to be Mekadesh Levana because he wanted to see it clearly. So therefore, he waited till tomorrow night. And Be'emes, in truth, the moon was much clearer on Sunday night, whatever it was, right? So then he did the bracha on Kiddush Levana. And then Rabbi Aaron said to Ramnasan, he said, you see, I waited a little bit and I saw how clear it was. And I was able to make the bracha when it was clear. And Ramnasan said, he says, Ulam anochi kvar espalati hayoyim es atfilos acher kiddush levana shekidashtia kvar esmo. Glamer, that my davening that I already did today was much better than your davening, is much more important, not more than your davening, but much more chashuv, because I already was mekadesh the moon yesterday. Meaning that he said that you waited till the moon was clear. He said, but I was able to follow the din that Rabbi Nachman bought about even making a bracha when the moon isn't so clear, and now my avodah is on a different level because I already did Kiddush Levana. Meaning that he's saying that when you do Kiddush Levana, everything that you do afterwards is already on a different level, which is very interesting. Did not know that. In Breslov, there lived one of the students of Rabbi Nachman, whose name was Rav Zlatas, and they called him this name on the shame of his mother, Moras Zlata. They called him Reuven Zlatas. They gave him this nickname because his mother's name was Zlata. He was a big Oved Hashem, and he had one chisaron, that he was very marbe and amiras divrei halotza g'dayim. He used to say funny things and whatever, like tzanas, everything like that. And Rabbi Nachman Mitulchin was very, very close to him, right? And he would go to him all the time to be mekabel him about ways to serve Hashem and everything like that, and Yer Shemayim. And when this was known to Ramnasan said to him, to tell you not to go to him anymore and learn from him, I'm not able to say that to you. But I can say this to you. He says, if you want to keep on going to this guy, then don't come to me anymore. Because he did not like the way that this guy, even though he was a big Eved Hashem, he didn't like the divrei halotza that he did, the leitzanas, whatever it was. Even though he was a Talmud of Rabbi Nachman, which is very interesting. Okay, but Ramnasan was not happy about it, so Rav Nachman Tulchiner stopped going to this guy. Rabbi Shlomo Reuven Hanal, who was this guy that we just spoke about, Shlomo Reuven Zlatas, Rabbi Shmuel Isaac. He was a Talmud of Rav Shmuel Isaac. I thought he was a Talmud of Rabbeinu. Maybe he was a Talmud of Rav Shmuel Isaac, who was a Talmud of Rabbi Nachman. Okay, and they also say a story about him that he said to the tzaddik Rav Mordechai of Chernobyl, right, when you want to bless your son, Shekavar Yesh Lo Bracha Me Rabbi Rav Shmuel Isaac. Valkin enoi chafetz bibracha zu mimenu. I guess he was by the Chernobyl Rebbe, and he wanted to give him a bracha, but he said, I don't want this bracha because I already got a bracha from my Rebbe, who is Rav Shmuel Isaac. And Rav Mordechai of Chernobyl was very surprised, but he said, this is what they really call emunas chachavim amitias. This is true emunas chachavim. What are you saying over here? Oh, sorry. When Rav Mordechai of Chernobyl wanted to give this guy, Rav Shlomo Ruven, a bracha to have children, he said, I don't need this bracha from you. I need different brachas, but I don't need this bracha because I got this bracha from my Rebbe, right? Okay, fine. It's known that Ramnasan would daven when he was much younger. He daven with a lot of kaiches and screams and jumping up and down and simcha gedayla. But at the end of his days, he would daven benachas ubimenucha. He would daven very gently and very, very peacefully. To Ramnasan had certain talmidim that served Hashem that they didn't even have time to come to Ramnasan because they were so busy, I guess, serving Hashem, that Ramnasan would have to go to them. One time on Erev Rosh Hashanah, when the minhag of the Jews is to fast chetzi yom, half a day, right? Rabbi Yitzchak, who's the son of Ramnasan, was not able to fast. He was sick, whatever. He was very weak. And he said to his father that he wants to eat a little bit, and then he's going to go to the Tzion and say Tikkun Klali, like the minhag of Breslov is. Right? Because if he eats a little bit, then he'll be able to have some more kavanah. And Ramnasan said to him, do not do this. Go to the Tzion and say the kapitel Tehillim, however you say them, even if you're weak, and then eat. And then after you eat, and then you have more koyach, go back to the Tzion and do that. But he's saying it's very important to not eat before you go to the Tzion. When it says over here that when Ramnasan was a little older, he was noyeg to have a little lekich and also some tea between wearing his tefillin Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. He was old. He was weak. Alright, let's do one more. How much did we do today? 12 minutes already. That's pretty good. Ramnasan was noyeg to travel and spend Shabbases in the same places that Rabbeinu also went for Shabbos when Rabbi Menachem was alive. We mentioned this before. He would go to Chirin, he would go here. And on the way to one of these places in the last years of his life, he said to Rabbi Nachman of Tulchin, with this I am showing you the way, what's it called? The way to do this, and then next year you'll be able to go by yourself. So he wanted, I guess, Rabbi Nachman Tulchin to go to the same places every year also. Alright, let's just do one more over here. He says, on Erev Tzfat, in the year Taf Kuf Ayin Aleph, which is I think the year that Rabbi Nachman was nifter, if I'm not mistaken. Eskavsu boil uman kishishim anashim enash. They also, after Rosh Hashanah, this was Erev Rosh Chodesh Shvat, at least 60 Breslovers came to Uman. Right. This is and to go to be by the Tzion of Rabbi Nachman, and this was the first kibbutz after Rabbi Nachman died. Right, that was the year that Rabbi Nachman died. Rabbi Nachman died Sukkot of Tov Ayin Aleph, so they came Erev Rosh Chodesh Shvat Tov Ayin Aleph a few months later. Rav Nasan, that Rav Nasan was making a big deal of this, that everybody should come. And they stayed there for Shabbos, and when they sat there at the table on Lal Shabbos, they didn't know how to start the song Azamer B'Shvachim, because when Rabbi Nachman was alive, right, Rabbi Nachman would sing the song, and the Breslovers and the chassidim would just help him out, like in the background, but nobody really knew how to start it, right? And when they were sitting there, and Rav Nasan says This is how the Nachal Novea Mikar Chachma, that never tasted sin in his life, would sing. Azamar B'Shvachim. And we would say, and we would say, and we would just be in the background. What's it called? And then he was basically telling them Rabbi Menachem was singing, and we would go bum bum bum, whatever, and then they continued, and that's how they started the song together. It must have been a very beautiful sight. Those are the pieces for today in Siach Sarfei Kodesh, and that's basically it. I hope everybody enjoyed it.